2025 is here, and that means a whole new season of Tekken 8 to look forward to. New balance patches, new moves, new features and modes, and of course, new characters. Let's be honest, the first character pass had a lot of issues, and a large amount of the community ended up being disappointed. While I do personally think overall it was a win, it's clear that people were not happy. Despite all of the negativity, I have faith that the development team will at least try to make this season better. They've shown that they are at least somewhat receptive to feedback recently. We saw that through them issuing an apology for charging for Heihachi's stage separately and giving us a free stage later, them finally fixing the DLC replay thing so you don't have to pay to lab DLC characters. They are listening, at least somewhat, which makes me think Season 2 will be a substantial improvement over Season 1. And with that said, in this video, I'm going to be attempting to predict the upcoming Season 2 of Tekken. I did this last year, and everyone called me crazy and said my predictions were too unrealistic for saying Heihachi would definitely make it back, and oh look who made it back. Jokes aside, I'm going to be making an effort to keep this as realistic as possible. Yes, we could technically get Goku or Donald Trump, but I'm going to try my best to stay realistic here. Make sure to let me know in the comments if you agree or disagree with my picks, and which characters you hope to see most in Tekken 8 Season 2. So starting off, we have quite a bit more information going into this season than we did in the previous one. First off, we already have one character confirmed. In the Season 1 trailer, we saw the Anna Williams teaser, so she'll definitely be making it back at some point during this season. We also have the general format of the character pass. Season 1 consisted of 3 returning characters, followed by a guest character, with the pass almost ramping up as the season went on, starting pretty slow with Eddie and Lydia, and then ramping up with 2 bombshell reveals. I'm going to be assuming a similar format going forward, because that's really all we have to go off of. So just like last season, I think it'll start with 2 safe returning characters, then a bombshell Tekken character reveal, so like a returning character who's very surprising, and finally a guest character. I'm going to be assuming Anna Williams will be the first character. She could be in any of the spots, but I don't feel like they would tease her that early if they planned on waiting till summer or even longer to release her. I'm pretty confident Anna Williams will be the first character in spring. So who's our summer character going to be? Let's take a look at the most popular picks for returning characters. Number 1 is of course Armor King. He's by far the most requested character to return, and I just can't see Namco not bringing the guy back. He was always somewhat popular, but his redesign in Tekken 7 shot him up to completely new levels, making him one of the most popular characters in the entire game. Armor King is really cool, and it's going to be super interesting to see how they change him for this game, now that regular King has also been given a wave dash. Armor King was always the hybrid type character, having parts of King's grappling, but also great up-close brawler tools, and of course the wave dash and dark upper. Nowadays, regular King has pretty much all of those things, besides the pseudo-electric. So I imagine they'll be changing Armor King quite a bit. But let's be honest, it's Tekken 8. They're probably just going to make him a 50-50 machine in this game. Unfortunately. Julia is another pick that's pretty much guaranteed at some point in Tekken 8's life. She hasn't missed a game since her release in Tekken 3 and is a big fan favorite. Once Anna comes out, she'll definitely be the most or second most requested female Tekken character to make it back. The only other character who even comes close in terms of legacy would be Kunimitsu, who I also think will make an appearance in this game. Although I think they're going to want to save her for later. She feels more like a Season 3 or Season 4 character. We also have the Tekken 6 duo, Miguel and Bob, who I could both see coming back. Bob kind of vanished during Tekken 7 and seems to have lost a lot of popularity. He really didn't seem to appeal to Tekken's Eastern audience, and I feel like Namco doesn't really know what to do with him right now. Miguel, on the other hand, is way more likely in my opinion. I was honestly very surprised he didn't make it into the base game. I think both of these characters will make it back eventually, but I'd say Miguel will be their focus first, just because he's way more popular and will sell better. There's also the Muay Thai trio, being Bruce, Falcon Rum, and Josie, and to be honest, the only one of these I can see making it back into Tekken 8 realistically is Falcon Rum. He's one of their big new characters, and I can't see them giving up on him so soon. He's also made to be a DLC character, like just look at him. You know they're gonna give him some crazy new gimmicks or new meter when they bring him back for the Tekken 8 DLC. I really like Bruce, and I'd love to see him return at some point, but he just doesn't feel popular enough overall. And the same goes for Josie. And just looking at this from a business perspective, Falcon Rum would sell way better than these two. If I had to rank them in terms of likelihood of making it back, I'd say Bruce is second and Josie is third. I'm sorry to the 4 Josie fans I upset by saying that, but your character is really not popular. I never see anyone talk about Josie these days. Those are basically all the most requested characters to return. There's a few I didn't mention, like Lei Wulong, Marduk, but I personally don't see them making it back yet. I think they're going to wait a bit longer, especially on Marduk, because Namco must know how angry people are going to be the second he returns. He's going to be by far the most toxic character in Tekken 8, so I think they're going to save him for a little bit later. I think out of all the characters I mentioned, the safest pick is Armor King. He's just the most bang for their buck. This way, Namco can create a ton of hype early on for the season pass without really doing too much. I mean, Armor King's just a returning character, just like Eddie and Lydia last season, but his sheer popularity will ensure we don't have a repeat of last season, where people were super lamed out by the first two characters. Now, if Armor King gets released, it's going to be a very hype time for the Tekken community. So I think Armor King will be the character in summer, and I think he'll come with a stage as well. It'll be a completely new stage related to Armor King in some way, and we won't have to pay extra for it this time. So Armor King releases in the summer, leading us to our next character. Before I get into the character I think we'll get in the fall, I want to quickly ask you guys that if you're enjoying these videos and have seen my videos before, please consider subscribing to the channel. It's a huge help and lets me know that you guys are interested in more scripted Tekken 8 video essays in the future. Thank you guys so much, and let's get into my third character. So I said earlier, I think they're going to follow the same format more or less, and I think the third character is going to be some crazy, unexpected returning character. I think the third character will either be Jinpachi or Kazumi. Since Heihachi returned, you cannot tell me anymore that a character being dead means they won't come back. Character dying in this series officially means nothing anymore. So I think one of these two will make it back as the super surprising pick for this season. Kazumi's a lot more likely. She's still a relatively new character and was very popular and well received in Tekken 7, and I just think she'd fit really well in Tekken 8. Although to be honest, she isn't that surprising of a pick, and it wouldn't create nearly as much hype as Jinpachi. Again, she is a lot safer though, so I do think she's a little bit more likely. Jinpachi, on the other hand, would be way more surprising and would be a crazy moment for Tekken. Imagine all the reaction videos of Tekken creators freaking out over him making it back. And the Mishimos are more popular now than they've ever been before. Releasing him would expose Jinpachi to a whole new generation of Tekken players, and I just think that'd be really cool. The third character could also be some kind of troll pick, like Roger, Alex, or Mokujin. I could definitely see that as well. But I'm going to go with the simplest and safest pick here. I think it's going to be Kazumi. A Kazumi reveal would still be way more hype than pretty much all of the other returning characters I mentioned, just because everyone kind of expects those characters to make it back at some point. But Kazumi? You don't see a lot of people talking about Kazumi making it back. People said I was crazy for predicting Heihachi here last time, and look what happened. I think Kazumi is a lot more likely than people think, and I'll go with her, but it could be any of the characters I've mentioned. And finally, the fourth character. This is where it gets tough, because based on last season, this character will be a guest character, and predicting guest characters is really hard. We basically have nothing to go off of in the Tekken series. Looking at the first season of DLC in Tekken 7, we started with a guest character from Final Fantasy, being Noctis, and then we're followed by a fighting game character. And I think this is probably the safest bet. The double safe option here would be to predict another SNK character. I mean, these guys are putting their characters in everything. Terry's in Smash and Street Fighter now, Geese was in Tekken 7, we could full well likely just get Terry again in Tekken 8. But I actually think Tekken is going to go a different direction, and instead is going to cross over with the biggest fighting game of the generation. Of course, being Street Fighter 6. I actually personally believe in the next couple years, we're going to see a Tekken character in Street Fighter, most likely being Jin, and a Street Fighter character in Tekken. And that's my prediction for the final character of this season. It just makes too much sense. Street Fighter 6 is on top of the world right now. It's by far the biggest fighting game. And we had Akuma in the base game of Tekken 7, why not give us another Street Fighter guest character in the DLC of Tekken 8? It would bring a ton of casual Street Fighter players over, and that's what fighting games are looking for with guest characters, just to bring as many casual players over as they can. Now, I initially thought that Luke was the most likely candidate. Capcom has put a clear effort into making him be the new face of the series and set him up as the protagonist, but after thinking about it, Luke really doesn't have the same popularity and recognizability that other Street Fighter characters have. And it also kind of seems like most Street Fighter players don't really like him as the protagonist. He's not nearly as popular as I thought he was. I think the most likely candidate from Street Fighter is Ken Masters. While Ryu is probably slightly more well known, I feel like Ken fits the theme of Tekken 8 much more. It's all about aggression. They want this game to be marketed as the hyper-aggressive fighting game, and which character fits that better than Ken, the aggressive Shoto? And get ready for everyone on Twitter to upload videos comparing his moveset to Akuma in Tekken 7, saying, he's just Akuma 2.0, just like they did for Clive and Noctis. I don't think Ken will have a separate meter like Akuma did in Tekken 7, I think he'll simply just use the heat system like everyone else, and hopefully he won't also have a broken jump. I think Namco learned their lesson from the 2D characters of Tekken 7, and are going to design him more like a regular Tekken character. I still think he'll probably have 3 specials, and I'm fine with him having a meter as long as the meter is only used for specials, but no more attack canceling, and no more 150 damage combos. We had enough of that in Tekken 7, let's leave that there. Ken will also come with a stage, of course, and I think it'll be a full modern remake of Hotel Masters from Street Fighter Alpha 3. Ken and Tekken would be a pretty crazy reveal, and a wrap up to a strong Season 2. I think this selection of characters would be a pretty balanced season pass. You have 2 legacy characters returning, although I think these legacy characters would be a lot more hype than Eddie and Lydia, a left field returning modern character like Kazumi, and a fighting game crossover character like Ken to draw in new players. It's not perfect, and you'll never make a perfect season pass with only 4 character slots to work with, but I think this would be a big improvement over last year. I'm pretty confident in these picks, but of course, when it comes to Tekken DLC, you truly never know what could happen. So make sure to let me know in the comments if you agree or disagree with my picks, and let me know which characters you hope to see most in Season 2 of Tekken 8. I'll be down there chatting with you guys as always. That's about it for this video. If you guys enjoyed, make sure to like and subscribe to the channel. It's a really big help. Special thanks as always to my YouTube members and Patreon patrons. You guys are the best and I really appreciate you. Thank you guys again for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Take it easy.